Welcome to Silver Storyland. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the story. Let's begin. Harvey Roach was fixing himself a drink when his neighbor Greg Frost knocked on his door, looking uncomfortable. Listen, man, I don't want to get in your business, but Greg glanced over his shoulder. Your wife. She parks down the street sometimes. Changes clothes in the car before coming home. Thought you should know. Harvey's hand tightened on the glass. Appreciate it. After Greg left, Harvey stood in his kitchen, mind racing. Madeline had been acting strange for months. Later nights, secretive phone calls, mood swings. He'd attributed it to stress from her job at the marketing firm. But changing clothes in the car? That evening, he told Madeline he'd be working late. Instead, he waited in his truck down the block from her office. At 7, Madeline emerged. Not in her usual business casual, but in a sleek red dress that probably cost more than their mortgage payment. She slid into her sedan and drove, not toward home, but to an upscale restaurant downtown. Harvey followed at a distance. Through the restaurant window, he watched her meet a silver-haired man in an expensive suit. They kissed. Not a peck. A kiss that spoke of intimacy, of routine. The man, 50s, distinguished, clearly wealthy, handed her something. An envelope. Madeline tucked it into her purse with a practiced smile. Harvey's jaw clenched. He drove home and went straight to Madeline's car in the garage. The trunk was unlocked. Inside, beneath a blanket, he found a garment bag. He unzipped it. 3 designer dresses, Louboutin heels, a blonde wig, and underneath, business cards. But not for Madeline Post or Madeline Roach. The cards read Madison Pierce, art consultant. His hands trembled as he dug deeper. A second phone. He powered it on. The lock screen showed dozens of messages from different numbers. He scrolled through. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, beautiful. Transfer the deposit for the Rothko piece. Thank you for last night. You're amazing. Harvey's stomach turned. Then he saw the Photos app, pictures of Madeline with different men at different restaurants, galas, hotel bars. In every photo, she wore the blonde wig and a different expensive dress. She looked like a completely different person. One folder was labeled Invoices. He opened it. Dozens of fake invoices for art purchases, investment opportunities, charity donations. Amounts ranging from $5,000 to $50,000. The garage door began to open. Harvey quickly replaced everything, closed the trunk, and slipped into the house through the interior door. He made it to the living room, just as Madeline walked in wearing her normal work clothes, the plain blouse and slacks she'd left in that morning. Hey, honey, she said, kissing his cheek. How was your day? Harvey smiled, though his heart pounded. Interesting. Yours? Oh, same old corporate nonsense. He watched her walk upstairs, phone in hand, probably texting one of her marks. His wife of 6 years. The woman he'd supported through grad school, through her mother's death, through everything. Harvey poured himself another drink. He wasn't angry. Not yet. He was calculating. Over the next week, Harvey played the devoted husband while conducting surveillance on his own wife. He'd built a career as a forensic accountant, tracking money through labyrinthine corporate structures for litigation cases. If anyone could unravel a con, it was him. He cloned Madeline's secret phone using software from a case he'd worked. The messages painted a disturbing picture. She was running a romance scam, but sophisticated. She didn't just catfish lonely men online. She targeted wealthy divorces and widowers at charity events, art galleries, and exclusive clubs. The blonde wig, the designer clothes, the fake identity as Madison Pierce gave her access to circles Harvey's middle-class salary never could. But she wasn't working alone. The messages referenced someone named D. Harvey cross-referenced phone numbers and found him. Dean Finley, a smooth-talking con artist with a record. 2 arrests for fraud, 1 conviction, 3 years served. He'd been released 18 months ago, exactly when Madeline's late nights at work had started. Harvey found photos of them together. Not the staged intimacy she showed her marks, but real affection. Laughing over champagne. Dean's hand on her waist. A selfie in bed. The worst part? Harvey recognized one of their victims. Robert Richmond, a widower who lived in their neighborhood. Harvey had helped him set up his sprinkler system last summer. Good man. Lost his wife to cancer 2 years ago. According to the messages, Madeline had convinced Robert to invest $45,000 in a private art acquisition opportunity, money he'd probably been saving for his grandkids. Harvey sat in his home office, the office Madeline had helped him paint, where they'd hung their wedding photos, and felt something cold settle in his chest. Not heartbreak. That would come later. This was clarity. He pulled up Dean Finley's background. The man was a parasite, a professional predator. 3 ex-wives, all of whom he'd financially destroyed. A pattern of targeting women with money or access to money. Madeline had been a marketing coordinator when they met, pulling in a decent salary, with access to Harvey's income too. Harvey pulled their bank statements. Over the past year, Madeline had withdrawn nearly $30,000 in cash, small amounts she'd disguised as shopping trips, salon visits, gym memberships. She'd also opened a credit card he didn't know about, maxed at $15,000. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Roach? This is Cody Matthews from Chase Fraud Detection. We've noticed some unusual activity on your joint account." Harvey's pulse quickened. What kind of activity? 3 attempts to transfer large sums to an offshore account. Our system flagged them. The transfers were initiated from your wife's login. How large? 50,000, 70,000, 90,000. They escalated when the first 2 failed. We blocked all 3. Harvey thanked him and hung up. She wasn't just running cons on strangers. She was preparing to clean him out too. That night, Madeline came home at 10, claiming a client dinner. She smelled like expensive cologne, not perfume. Dean's cologne, probably. She kissed Harvey's cheek, and he smiled at her. "I'm taking a few days off next week," he said. "Thought we could do something together. Maybe drive up to that cabin we went on our honeymoon." Madeline's expression flickered. Guilt? Calculation? "I have a big presentation next Friday. Maybe the week after?" "Sure," Harvey said easily. No rush. After she went to bed, he sat in the darkness and opened his laptop. He'd spent 6 years building a life with someone who'd spent the last 18 months plotting to destroy it. Dean Finley had taught her well, but Dean Finley had never met someone like Harvey Roach. Harvey had prosecuted fraud cases for some of the most ruthless corporations in America. He knew how to build airtight cases, how to track money across borders, how to anticipate every move. He'd sent people to prison with evidence, chains they never saw coming. He opened a new document and titled it Operation Payback. Harvey spent the weekend playing detective. While Madeline was supposedly at a team building retreat, he tracked her to the Riverside Hotel downtown. She checked in as Madison Pierce. Dean Finley checked in 30 minutes later. Harvey didn't confront them. Instead, he ate breakfast in the hotel restaurant and struck up a conversation with the bartender, a sharp-eyed woman named Carolyn Benson. After establishing rapport and a generous tip, he showed her a photo of Madeline. "Oh yeah, Madison," Carolyn said. "She's here a lot, usually with older guys. Different ones. Sometimes with that younger dude, though. Her brother," she said. Carolyn smirked. "Brothers don't usually kiss like that." Harvey laughed, playing it casual. "How long's this been going on? Maybe a year?" "She tips well, so I mind my business." Carolyn studied him. "You're not a brother either, are you?" "Husband," Harvey said. "Soon to be ex." Ouch. Carolyn refilled his coffee. "You want my advice? Whatever you're planning, make it count." Harvey had no intention of doing otherwise. He created a secure digital folder and began compiling evidence. Screenshots of messages, photos of Madeline with various men, bank statements, the fake invoices, Dean's criminal record. He cross-referenced the names from Madeline's phone with social media and public records. 12 victims total over 18 months. Combined losses, north of $400,000. These weren't faceless corporations. They were retired teachers, small business owners, people who'd worked their whole lives for that money. One victim stood out, Douglas Ward, a retired Marine who'd been convinced to invest $70,000 in a veteran-owned tech startup. The messages showed Madeline had specifically targeted him at a veteran charity event using Dean's service record, which was fabricated as connection. Douglas had mentioned his daughter's cancer treatment in the messages. He needed that money. Harvey felt his anger crystallize into something sharp and purposeful. He made 2 calls. First, to his friend Barry Nixon, a private investigator who owed him a favor. I need full surveillance on 2 people. I'm sending you photos and addresses. Everything they do, everyone they meet, every transaction. Can you do it quietly? For you? Consider it done. Second call went to his colleague Nicole Dudley, an attorney who specialized in asset recovery. Hypothetically, Harvey said, if someone were running a romance scam and I had evidence, what's the best way to ensure they face consequences and the victims get restitution? Nicole was quiet for a moment. This isn't hypothetical, is it? No. How good is your evidence? Ironclad. Then we build a case so airtight they can't wiggle out. Criminal and civil. But Harvey, if this is personal, you need to be smart about it. I'm always smart about it, Harvey said. On Monday, Harvey got a call from Barry. Your wife and Finley just met with someone at a warehouse in the industrial district. Guy looked nervous. They handed him a briefcase. Harvey's mind raced. Can you get photos? Already did. Running the guy's plates now. An hour later, Barry sent the information. The man was Alberto Fay, a known fence with connections to organized crime. The briefcase likely contained cash or valuables from their cons. Harvey smiled. Fencing stolen goods across state lines was federal. This wasn't just fraud anymore. That evening, Madeline came home cheerful. Guess what? I got a bonus. Let's go out to celebrate. Harvey looked at her. The woman who'd promised to love him, who'd walked down an aisle in white and sworn vows, and saw a stranger. That's great, honey. Where do you want to go? That new Italian place downtown? I made a reservation for 8. At the restaurant, Harvey watched Madeline scan the room, probably checking for marks. She was good at this. The concerned expression when men talked about their late wives. The enthusiastic interest in their hobbies. The perfectly timed touches on the arm. She'd probably practiced in the mirror. You seem distracted, Madeline said. Harvey smiled. Just thinking about how lucky I am. The words tasted like ash, but Madeline beamed. I'm the lucky one. After dinner, while Madeline was in the restroom, her personal phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a message from Dean. RR deposited another $20K. Ready for final extraction. RR. Robert Richmond. Their neighbor. The widower who'd helped Harvey fix his fence last month. Harvey's jaw tightened. Harvey spent Tuesday cataloging every piece of evidence with forensic precision. He created a timeline, a money trail, victim profiles. Everything documented, dated, verified. Nicole had advised him to keep his investigation confidential until they had enough for both criminal prosecution and civil suits. But Harvey wanted more than legal justice. He wanted Dean and Madeline to feel the same betrayal, the same violation they'd inflicted on their victims. Wednesday morning, he called Robert Richmond. Hey, Robert, you got a minute? I want to talk to you about an investment opportunity someone might have approached you with. Silence on the line. Then, how did you know? Harvey's heart sank. Can I come over? Robert's kitchen table was covered with paperwork. Contracts for art purchases, investment agreements, all professionally printed with Dean Finley's Fay Company letterhead. She called herself Madison, Robert said, voice hollow. We met at the art museum. She was so kind, so interested in Susan's paintings. Susan, his late wife. She said she could connect me with collectors who'd pay top dollar. I gave her $65,000, Harvey, money I'd saved for my granddaughter's college fund. Harvey felt rage burn through him. Robert, I need you to trust me. Don't confront them. Don't tell them you know. Can you do that? Why? Because I'm going to get your money back. All of it. But I need time. Robert studied him. You know who they are. One of them is my wife. Robert's eyes widened. Jesus, Harvey. I'm handling it. But I need you to act normal for now. If they suspect we know, they'll run. Robert agreed, though Harvey could see the shame in his eyes. That's what cons did. They made victims feel stupid, complicit. It was a special kind of cruelty. Barry called that afternoon. They're planning something. Finley rented a storage unit yesterday. Your wife withdrew $10,000 cash this morning, and they booked flights to Costa Rica for next month. One way. Harvey felt cold clarity. They were preparing their exit. Once they'd extracted enough, they'd disappear, leaving Harvey with debt and a dozen victims with no recourse. That night, Harvey initiated Phase 1 of Operation Payback. He created a fake email address and sent a message to Dean Finley from Marcus Sterling, claiming to be a wealthy tech entrepreneur interested in our investments. He'd researched Dean's preferences, his tactics, his psychological profile. Harvey knew exactly what bait would work. The response came within an hour. Dean was interested. Very interested. Harvey smiled. Hook set. He scheduled a meeting with Marcus Sterling for the following week at an upscale hotel bar. Neutral territory where Dean would feel comfortable. Harvey would play a lonely divorce with money to burn and a weakness for beautiful women who understood art. But he needed someone to play Madison Pierce. Madeline would be busy that night. Harvey would make sure of it. Dean would have to find another blonde to play the role, or come alone and make excuses. Harvey called Nicole. I need a favor. It's going to sound crazy. Nicole Dudley sat across from Harvey in a coffee shop, listening to his plan. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. That's either brilliant or insane. Can it be both? Harvey, if this goes wrong. It won't. I've tracked every dollar, every lie, every victim. I know their playbook better than they do. Harvey leaned forward. Dean Finley preys on people's loneliness. Madeline weaponizes trust. They've spent 18 months destroying lives. I'm giving them a taste of their own medicine. Nicole sighed. What do you need from me? Legal backup. When this goes down, I need everything filed simultaneously, criminal complaints, civil suits, asset freezes. I want them buried so deep they can't see daylight. And the victims? I'm setting up a restitution fund. Everything Madeline and Dean have liquidated. Every dollar returned. Harvey pulled out a folder. I've also been tracking their fence, Alberto Fay. He's been moving their merchandise. If we can get him on federal charges, he'll flip on them for a deal. Nicole reviewed the documents. This is professional-grade forensic work. I'm a professional-grade forensic accountant. She smiled. All right, I'm in. But Harvey, make sure you're doing this for the right reasons. I am. Robert Richmond's granddaughter deserves her college fund. Douglas Ward deserves to pay for his daughter's treatment. All of them deserve justice. Harvey paused. And I deserve to watch the people who betrayed me face consequences. Friday evening, Harvey told Madeline he had a work emergency in Chicago, client meeting that couldn't be rescheduled. She seemed relieved. That's fine. I have plans anyway. Oh yeah? What kind of plans? Just dinner with the girls from work. She smiled, and Harvey wondered how he'd ever believed her lies. He didn't go to Chicago. Instead, he checked into the Riverside Hotel under the name Marcus Sterling. Barry Nixon had set up surveillance in the bar. Nicole was on standby. And Harvey had one more ace up his sleeve. Carolyn Benson, the bartender who'd agreed to help for a percentage of the restitution fund. At 8 p.m., Dean Finley walked into the bar. No Madeline. Interesting. He'd come alone, probably planning to feel out Marcus before bringing in his blonde partner. Dean looked every inch the successful consultant in his tailored suit and expensive watch, bought with stolen money. Harvey, disguised with reading glasses and a different hairstyle, sat at the bar reviewing fake investment portfolios. He'd baited the hook with mentions of a messy divorce and a trust fund he needed to diversify. Dean approached smoothly. Marcus Sterling? Dean Finley. Great to finally meet in person. They shook hands. Harvey channeled every ounce of loneliness and desperation he'd seen in the victim's messages. Mr. Finley, thanks for taking the time. I'm honestly a bit out of my depth here. Call me Dean, and that's what I'm here for. Dean signaled Carolyn for drinks. Tell me about your situation. Harvey spun a story about a tech company sale, $40 million in liquid assets, and a desperate need for guidance. My ex-wife took half, and I'm worried about making another mistake. I need someone I can trust. The word trust made Dean's eyes gleam. Predator recognizing prey. They talked for an hour. Dean was good, asking personal questions, building rapport, making Harvey feel understood. He mentioned having a partner who specialized in art acquisition. She's incredible. Harvard MBA, connections at Christie's and Sotheby's. I could introduce you. I'd like that, Harvey said. They scheduled a follow-up meeting for Monday. Dean would bring his partner, and they'd discuss investment opportunities. As Dean left, looking pleased with himself, Harvey signaled Barry. Barry followed Dean to a townhouse across the river. not the apartment Madeline claimed she sometimes stayed at for early meetings. This was Dean's place. And an hour later, Madeline's car pulled up. Barry's photos showed them on the balcony, celebrating with champagne. Madeline was laughing, probably thrilled about the $40 million mark they thought they'd hooked. Harvey looked at the photos and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. They'd walked right into his trap. Monday morning, Harvey called his boss and took a week of personal time. Family emergency, he said. It wasn't a lie. He spent the weekend finalizing everything with Nicole. She'd coordinated with the FBI. The wire fraud across state lines and connections to Alberto Fay had gotten their attention. An agent named Sean Hunt was assigned to the case, and he loved Harvey's evidence package. "Mr. Roach, this is some of the best documentation I've seen from a civilian," Agent Hunt said during their meeting. "You've built our case for us." "I'm motivated," Harvey said dryly. "When you're ready to execute, we'll have teams in place. Federal warrants for both Finley and your wife, plus Fay. Asset seizures, account freezes, the works. I need one more meeting with them first, to get their confession on record." Agent Hunt nodded. "We'll wire you. But Mr. Roach, these people are dangerous when cornered. Are you sure you want to do this?" Harvey thought about Robert's granddaughter, Douglas's daughter, all the victims who'd never see justice without this. "I'm sure." Monday evening, Harvey arrived at the hotel bar as Marcus Sterling. Dean and Madeline, wearing her blonde wig and a stunning black dress, were already there. Seeing his wife play this role in person, knowing she'd go home to him later and pretend to be someone else entirely, hardened Harvey's resolve. "Marcus, this is my partner, Madison Pierce," Dean said. Madeline extended her hand, her smile professional and warm. She looked directly at Harvey and didn't recognize him. After 6 years of marriage, she looked at her husband and saw only a mark. Harvey shook her hand. "Pleasure." They sat. Madeline launched into her pitch about art investments, dropping names of galleries and collectors. She was polished, confident. Harvey played the eager mark, asking questions designed to make them reveal more of their scheme. "The beauty of this approach," Dean said, "is that we can move quickly. Wire the funds to our acquisition account. We secure the pieces, and you see returns within months." "How much are we talking?" Harvey asked. Madeline leaned forward. "For a portfolio like yours, I'd recommend starting with $500,000. Harvey pretended to consider it. "That's a significant amount." "It is," Madeline agreed. "But Marcus, trust is everything in this business. We've been doing this for years. Impeccable reputation." The word trust again. They'd built their entire con on it. Harvey smiled. "You know what? Let's do it. I'll have my attorney draw up the paperwork." Dean and Madeline exchanged glances. Madeline touched Harvey's hand. "Marcus, we appreciate the caution, but we have our own contracts. Simpler that way." "I'm sure," Harvey said, "but my attorney insists. She's very thorough. Actually," he pulled out his phone, "she's upstairs. Why don't we get this finalized tonight?" Dean hesitated. "We don't usually." "Understand, but I'm ready to move forward. Unless there's a problem?" Madeline's smile was strained. "Of course not. We'd love to meet your attorney." Harvey led them to a conference room on the 3rd floor. Nicole was waiting, along with Agent Hunt and 2 other FBI agents. "Dean Finley, Madeline Roach, you're under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and interstate transportation of stolen goods," Agent Hunt said, badge displayed. The color drained from Madeline's face. Dean tried to run, but agents blocked the door. Harvey removed his glasses. Madeline's eyes widened as recognition hit. "Harvey, hey honey," he said. "Guess what? I got a bonus too." The FBI arrested Alberto Fay that same night. All 3 faced federal charges. Nicole filed civil suits on behalf of all 12 victims. Harvey had spent the past 2 weeks building an airtight case. Every transaction traced, every lie documented, every victim identified. Madeline tried to call him from jail. He didn't answer. Dean's attorney reached out, looking for a deal. Harvey told Nicole, "No deals. They give back every penny or they serve maximum sentences." The evidence was overwhelming. Dean Finley flipped first, testifying against Madeline in exchange for a reduced sentence. 15 years instead of 25. Madeline, faced with her husband's forensic accounting and her partner's betrayal, had no choice but to plead guilty. 20 years. Alberto Fay got 12 years for his role in fencing the stolen goods. Harvey liquidated everything. Their townhouse, Madeline's car, her designer clothes, jewelry, all of it. The storage unit Dean had rented contained over $200,000 in cash and valuables. Combined with asset seizures, Harvey recovered nearly $450,000. He set up a restitution fund and distributed the money to the victims. Robert Richmond got his granddaughter's college fund back. Douglas Ward could afford his daughter's treatment. Every victim received full restitution, plus compensation for emotional damages from the civil suits. 3 months later, Harvey sat in his new apartment, smaller than the townhouse, but his, and opened a beer. Barry Nixon stopped by with a bottle of whiskey. "To Operation Payback," Barry said, pouring drinks. Harvey clinked glasses. "To justice." "You know," Barry said, "most people would have just divorced her." Harvey smiled. "I'm not most people." His phone buzzed. A message from Robert Richmond. "My granddaughter got into MIT. Thank you for giving us hope again." Harvey read it twice, then deleted his copy of the evidence folder. Nicole had the legal copies. He didn't need to carry it anymore. He'd spent 18 months being betrayed by the person he'd trusted most. But he'd spent 3 months proving that intelligence, patience, and principle could triumph over deception. Madeline and Dean had made their choices. They'd preyed on vulnerability and destroyed lives. Harvey had simply ensured they faced the consequences they'd earned. And when he lay down that night, he slept better than he had in over a year.